do?
There, you are elite with your little Apple Watch.
I
Go
mean,
ahead, check it. Check it for the one time. Let them know.
It's the slight flex.
Let them know you got it.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
Go ahead. We'll wait.
Yeah, give me a second. See, I want to cooperate.
Slight little flex on them. Okay.
You know, that's to
Get
do it.
your Apple Watch don't know how to act.
They're on sale on Amazon right now. If you 38 millimeter for just under $200.
You got the deal, huh?
42 millimeter for about $220 or so. You know what I'm saying?
What's up, y'all? It's the Straight Talk Podcast. It's your boy fella on the card phone. Next to me is Rev Ro. How you doing today, Rev?
I'm good. And you know why I'm feeling good?
Why are you feeling
It's
good?
all special shouts out to Michelob Ultra. Michelob Ultra, your premium light calorie, light carb beer. Superior light beer. Michelob Ultra. Drink responsibly, ladies and gentlemen.
They not sponsoring us yet.
Yes, because I'm going to get that deal.
We gonna get it.
We going to get it.
We gonna get it. Who's speaking that into existence?
Michelob Ultra.
Right now. But yeah, man, we back. It's Thursday.
Yes, sir, Ski.
It's the Straight Talk Sports Podcast.
Yes, sir, Ski.
And man, let's get the show on the road. Let's get it going.
Question of the day, man. Hit me with it.
It's a late night show, so we're gonna start it off with question of the day. Of course, it's the segment of the podcast where I like to ask my buddy here to my left a question, and I give him a grade on his answer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I grade him subjectively.
Completely
subjectively. So I can give him a grade on whatever, and he can't really say too much about it.
I just got to take it.
You just got to take
I took a lot of W's this year so far. Well, we going to see. We going to see what happened tonight.
We're going to see how it
Josh
plays
like to hit
out.
me with some bud. Yeah.
You know how I do. You know, I done stumped you a couple times. So what I'm saying? So,
we getting on here camping.
Question of the day.
All right.
Just recently, a couple days ago actually, the Suns, get them all mixed up. The Nets, because we talking about the Suns too.
Yeah.
The Nets decided that they was going to bring on Mike D'Antoni. So we got a role switch here. Because back in the day, it was Steve Nash as the lower guy. Mm-hmm. He had D'Antoni as the head guy. You know what I'm saying? They didn't flip.
And then his main man with him.
They didn't flip.
Was Big Stoudemire.
They didn't had I forget his nickname, but they didn't have Stoudemire. Amari Stoudemire.
Big something.
I feel like it was like the Big Dipper. Maybe that was Shaq.
I don't know about the Big Dipper. Other than the stars, the constellation.
It was the big something. But so they just switched it a little bit. They didn't brought the Suns. They didn't brought Phoenix to Brooklyn. So they got Mike D'Antoni as the assistant coach. Mm-hmm. They got Amari as the assistant coach. Mm-hmm. To Steve Nash as the head coach. 7 seconds or less offense coming to Brooklyn soon. Okay, so my question to you for question of the day is: yes, sir, is that going to work? Is bringing Phoenix, who was never able to make it far in the playoffs, too deep in the playoffs, is that going to work with this team in Brooklyn?
I've said it before, I'll say it again. Off of talent alone, the Brooklyn Nets will be damn good.
I mean, yeah, it's hard.
You have arguably the best player on the planet in Kevin Durant, depending on how he comes back from this injury. But the way Kevin Durant's game is built, I'm not really too worried about the Achilles injury because the Achilles ain't got nothing to do with this right here. You know what I'm saying? You got Kevin Durant. Top two might not be two on some people's list player in the league. You got Kyrie Irving, who, despite the slander you might want to throw his way, is one of the more talented guards just as far as his skill set. Of talent alone, don't forget Spencer Dinwiddie, Karis LeVert. You got pieces. Brooklyn is going to do well for themselves. Mm-hmm. And you're in the East, which it ain't that hard to do well because there's some scrubs out there.
That's a fact.
With that in mind, you got Mike D'Antoni, who, while he may have been a failure his entire coaching career, hate to say it, he does do well during regular season as a coach, at least. Oh, that's a hell of a duo. He does do well during the regular season as a coach. So I'm sure it'll be good for Steve Nash to have him in the back, in his corner.
So,
Amari Stoudemire, I'm not too sure about his coaching. So anyway, we'll see.
He's a good player.
He's a good player.
And if he's willing to coach.
Maybe he'll take on the Kendrick Perkins player-coach role. He'll talk a lot of stuff as if he's one of the people on the court.
He's going to be a bully.
He'll mostly
He's not like that, though.
He'll mostly just be in his suit.
Yeah.
Amari messed around and put on a jersey, bro. He wanted to make an NBA comeback. Like, a couple months ago, he was talking about a comeback, and now he was like,
How old is he? Let's see how old he is. Amari.
Too old to be thinking about coming back, but I guarantee you.
Yeah.
He's going to be the first player coach in the modern NBA.
So he's younger. He's younger than LeBron, I think. No.
Not at
LeBron
all.
is yeah. No. I can't believe he's only like 36. That's crazy.
You 36, as Teddy would say.
Yeah.
But
he's about the same age as LeBron.
I think they'll still be successful. Like I said, just based off talent, Steve Nash is one hell of a basketball mind. Mike D'Antoni is one hell of a basketball mind. He's shown flashes of being an extremely talented coach. He just had a hard time getting over the hump in the postseason, both during his Phoenix tenure and his Houston tenure. We're going to disregard the LA Lakers tenure because that was a waste of time for all parties involved. But I think just in between the basketball IQ and the talent that is on display in Brooklyn, they will be pretty damn good.
Pretty good. I need some more.
You need a benchmark?
I need a definitive.
You need a benchmark.
Pretty good is not enough. Pretty good is not enough.
Top 3 seed in the East.
That's not enough.
Yeah, run.
That's not enough. I need more than that.
They're not going to the Eastern Conference. Well, Eastern Conference Finals, but they're not making it out.
They're not going to make it to the finals. That's why I need
They're not making it to the finals. They're going to be damn good, but they're not making it to the finals. Because you know who's going back to the finals? Still in Miami. Jimmy Butler to miss.
Okay, I think I'm ready to agree.
I'm telling you, look, they're gonna get to the Eastern Conference Finals for sure. Just off talent, IQ alone, I'm sure they'll make some type of trade. If not this summer, during the season, they'll make some type of trade to just bolster their offense, bolster their roster. But that Brooklyn Nets team is gonna be damn good. It's gonna be their first year, so I'm not gonna give them finals or bust. That's not fair. I'm not gonna do them like the Clippers got done. But I think they'll get there. It's hard to have Kevin Durant and Kyrie on the same team and not at least get to the ECF. But they ain't going to get to the finals.
Okay.
It's going to be one hell of a good benchmark year, and then they're going to build from that. Eastern Conference Finals, as far as I'm willing to say.
How far are they going in the Eastern Conference Finals? They going to Game 7?
It depends on who they got.
So you got Heat and the Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I'll take that.
Okay. I'm going to give you a C-.
Because you wanted to say Boston?
No.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I have no issues with you saying the Heat are going to make the Eastern Conference Finals.
Because Boston packed. Never mind. Don't blind me out. Don't blind me out. I'm sorry.
I have zero issues with you saying that. What I have issues with you saying they're not going to make the NBA Finals. That's my issue. The Nets.
You think that Nets team is going to beat
I think it's big cap.
Okay, but listen. In the East, you have contenders that are already pretty much set. They know their identity. They may add pieces to get better. This Brooklyn Nets team is a Frankenstein project that is totally new. New coach, never been a coach before. Assistant coach has never been a coach before. 2 players that have never played together before. At no point really have any of these newer players played with the Nets cohesively long term. Kyrie played a couple games and then decided, you know what, I'll sit out the rest of the year. It's not worth it. KD's not here. KD ain't played a single game in Brooklyn. It's been Karis, LeVert, and Spencer Dinwiddie all year. So this is a whole new mix of players. We don't know how they're going to play. We don't know how they'll mesh. We don't know what team movements they'll make through trades. So I'm not going to say that they're going to make it to the finals. Because just as easily as everybody said, Clippers, damn sure going to the finals. Look at the talent they put together. You see how that worked out. They had the best roster top to bottom in the NBA, and it didn't work. You can't say the Brooklyn Nets have the best roster top to bottom. So I'm not going to guarantee they're going to make it to the finals. I'm not dumb. That'd be stupid.
I think I can say they have
that
the
would
best
be stupid.
roster.
They have the best roster?
I think I can say they
have
the
a better
best
roster. They have a better roster than Boston?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Top to bottom?
Top to
Outside of just the point guard and small forward position, they have the best roster. Get out of here. Get out of here, bro. Get out of here. We don't use the F word on this show, but get out of here. You bullshitting right now. I'll say bullshit all day.
Okay. They might not have...
Exactly, because you know you lying. I give you an F.
Listen.
I'm trying to throw that cap my way.
Listen.
It's my segment now.
You should give me an L for lying.
Yeah. Big facts. Listen
to me. Listen to me.
Okay.
Damn it. We can say that on the show too.
Okay. What you got to say?
Listen.
No mind me. I'm gonna just sit my.
I think they have a similar roster. Hear me out. Hear me out. What's putting me over the hump right now?
You know you bullshit right now.
No. Listen, I'm just bracing you. I want you to brace yourself. What's putting the Nets over the hump for me is easy money sniper. KD, Kevin Durant. That's putting me over the hump. I don't care. Like, he, to me, puts them over the hump. Better than the Celtics. Better than the Heat. Better than Philly, obviously. Better than the Bucks. I think that's putting me over the hump.
Better than the Raptors?
He gives me, right now, KD, honestly, before the ankle injury, or the Achilles injury, he was giving me LeBron vibes. He was giving me LeBron vibes. I'm sorry. I know you don't really like him. Billy called him the whole of the league. Okay, fine. But it's still KD. That's the issue. And he's that kind of cat. Like, yeah, I think we obviously give all time, even all decade, give that to LeBron for sure. But KD right there. If you really think about it, KD right there. He right there this decade. If he continues to play like he been playing this decade, he's going to go into the 2020 or the 20 decade. And if he continues that, if he's able to keep that up, same pace, he gonna be right there with LeBron. He giving me KD vibes, even with the injury. I think that's what's putting him over the hump right now. So
you mean to tell
that's
me?
why you getting to see. I think with KD puts him over the hump.
You mean to tell me?
Jason Tatum.
Damn it! You mean to tell me? Kevin Durant. Kevin weak ass Durant takes him over the hump of a Boston team that has an all-star caliber point guard, similar to the Nets, but also a Jaylen Brown at the shooting guard, but also a Jason Tatum at the small forward, but also a Gordon Hayward at the power forward, but also potentially a Rudy Gobert, Steven Adams at the center once they make this trade. You mean to tell me that the Brooklyn Nets, just based off of Kevin Durant,
don't throw them names in there because they're not in there.
It's going to happen.
They're not in there yet.
We'll talk about it.
Wait till that happens.
We'll get into it later in the show. Even if they can keep Enes Kanter out there if they want to, you cannot tell me that this well-rounded Boston Celtics roster with scorers off the bench and on the court with the starting five. You mean to tell me Kevin Durant is just eclipsing that whole setup? He eclipsing the whole 10-man.
Yes.
Moving on, man. I'll take my
he also got Karis LeVert.
Hey,
you got Spencer
my C stands for you can't make this weak shit up.
You got Jared Allen.
That's what it means.
You potentially got Joe Harris. You sleeping on the Nets.
Joe Harris.
Don't act like I just named three other people before Joe Harris.
Jared Allen doesn't do anything. He's just big.
That's all you need sometimes.
No.
And he get rebounds.
He does his job.
C-. C- on.
Moving on.
Don't get mad. Hey, what did I say?
Moving on to
subjective to me.
The W. We got Sabrina Ionescu. She had She had a successful surgery on that ankle, so the young GOAT should be back in full force by the time season spins the block and comes back around. You know, we were both tweeting about it. Very disappointed to see her get so hurt, or to get hurt so early into her WNBA career, because we were really looking forward to seeing the impact she would have on the Liberty.
I didn't see anything to why it took so long to have the surgery.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe if they were she was unsure.
And she was just chilling in the bubble for moral support.
It was a grade 3 ankle sprain, and so maybe she thought it would heal eventually. But the fact that they're having the surgery now, and it's okay simply because she can have the surgery now and still be ready in time for the actual season. So just because they have such a big break between the WNBA seasons. But yeah, it's good to see that the surgery went successfully.
Yeah. She's coming back better than ever.
Let's hope so.
Trust. Comeback player of the year.
She's being touted as, one of the next top players of the league.
She's gonna be up there for sure.
And then she also has that connection with Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
That really kind of just makes her expectations go up even higher.
It's the Mamba in her, bro.
Yeah.
It's the Mamba in her.
So yeah, it's good to see Sabrina hopefully having a good successful surgery and hopefully she has a healthy recovery. But we wanted to also talk about again, WNBA season is not going to be happening until the summer.
Yeah.
We're just informing you guys, and we want to use this show as a way to keep you guys informed on the WNBA, on women's basketball, because I mean it's not highly known about what the women basketball players have to go through on a year-to-year basis. So, what now that it's in the off season?
Yeah.
Where's the heart? It's in the off season. They really don't have much. They don't have any opportunities as far as America. So what they do is they go overseas and they get bread thrown at them, like a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, the WNBA players, they don't make hardly any money in the WNBA. They make all of their money.
They're making like
overseas.
normal people's salaries.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
NBA
not normal.
players.
Well, yeah, the
I
top
don't wanna say,
players
like,
are making
normal.
top players are making six figures.
But like
The regular
the
players
WNBA
are
players,
making
in comparison to what you think of when you think professional league money,
yeah,
it's not that.
not even close.
Like the least paid man on the Knicks is making way more money than most of us.
Yeah.
The least paid woman on the Connecticut Suns
is on par.
is probably making what your mother or father's making.
Yeah,
like
on par.
they're not really making a ridiculous amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
But
So-
you take that overseas?
Yeah, so what they do is on the off season they have such a long off season. They only play in the summertime. They make basically the top players are making 15 times their salary here.
Mm-hmm.
So they're almost forced to go overseas because they have to, if they focus on they're able to continue to focus on basketball. They're able to improve their games and they're also able to support their families and make that money. So what they do is they play overseas, and it's interesting to really see, like, I wasn't informed on how stacked some of these teams are that they go overseas and play with, but these teams apparently they get the all NBA teams.
Monstars type beat.
Yeah. Do we have the graphic of? We don't have the graphic, so we got one team that's got Brianna Stewart, who I'm sure she's making probably like 10 million this season. Brittany Griner, which is like, that's Twin Towers right there.
Yeah, that alone is like, well, damn.
Who else they got? They have Courtney Vandersloot, who is a bucket.
Yeah.
I know her. Allie Quigley, Emma Messiman, and Maria Mendiva. Ooh, that was some hard name. But yeah, so the fact that you have Brianna Stewart and
Brittany Griner and Brianna
Griner
Stewart
on top
alone is like,
and Vandersloot, who I know is a bucket.
that's that AD DeMarcus Cousins combination.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
we
like
gotta
you
guard
got
them in
Twin
the front
Towers,
court.
and then it's like everybody
Yeah.
else over on the other team is 6'3".
Yeah, it's not fair, really.
So they be building super teams over here, but we just wanted to keep you guys informed on like
how their offseason looks, how they're
y'all
providing for themselves.
Exactly, and we want to
In comparison.
we plan on updating you guys on how their seasons are going overseas and just keeping you informed. So like this team that we're talking about is in Russia, so we'll keep them informed on their season and what that's like. I'm sure they'll win the championship. I would assume so.
I don't know how you wouldn't.
Yeah.
All they really need is Liz Cambridge out there, and I know they win every game.
You and Liz Cambridge. You gonna bring her up every show?
If I can, I will.
Okay. Heard. But anyway, that's all we had for the WNBA topics. The W. So it's time to mosey on to the NBA.
Mosey?
Mosey on to the NBA. And we're gonna start back with our alphabetical order again. We're gonna try to go through all the teams in alphabetical order.
Yeah.
And
in alphabetical order by team name, not city.
And by team name, yeah. So not by city name. So if you're following along with us, it's not the city name, it's the team name. So last week we did this Cavaliers and the Bulls. This week we're going to be doing the Celtics and the Clippers. So we're going to start with the Celtics. And the main news with the Celtics that's going on right now, and we're also touching on the team overall. Gordon Hayward has a player option for about $30 million, $31 million.
He's accepting it.
I've seen some reports where obviously he's going to take the money, but he wants to leave.
He hoping for a Melo situation, like
he's hoping.
I want that money. Feel free to let me go.
He's hoping to get a contract somewhere else that can be equal to money. That's the only way he's going to go somewhere else. I think he's crazy to think that somebody's actually going to pay him $31 million.
Indiana will do it.
No.
In a heartbeat.
But you've been talking about the Great White Hope. What about Dallas Mavericks? You see them.
I would be very happy to see a quality white man join the Dallas Mavericks. Nothing would make my heart happier than to see them bolster that great white roster.
Oh, my God.
And to just see more white men continue to be damn good at their job and also do it in unity.
Gordon Hayward, I don't know if you can say he's damn good at his job.
He's good at his job. Here's the thing, though,
with
Gordon Hayward.
He struggled the last couple of seasons, my boy.
But listen, Gordon Hayward, there have been games where he had the opportunity to hold the ball more, and he started just going off. Or when he would have 20-point games, it was a guaranteed win for them. But there's also a lot of games where Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum eat up the touches, which Jaylen Brown doesn't get as much. So when Jaylen Brown falls to your third option, Gordon Hayward definitely falls to the basement. But whereas Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum get going, and maybe the point guard is off, Gordon Hayward gets a chance to step up. I think the Celtics have that issue where we have too many options that somebody's going to suffer. So while Gordon Hayward would probably like to stay in Boston and would like to stay with Brad Stevens, I would like an opportunity where I can actually play. Because I went from being the guy in Utah to an injury making me not just the second option, but damn near third or fourth option on any given night, because you got more faith in these 23-year-olds than you do me at this point. You let them do everything, and you don't give me the opportunity that I thought I was getting when I signed here. Because I was a franchise player in Utah. Miami wanted to give me max money other than you, and I came here based off a relationship with this coach and off of opportunity. And unfortunately, a freak accident injury ruined that a little bit on my side, but then your choices rotationally and as an organization have also kind of screwed me over. So I understand why he'd want to leave.
Yeah, I think he absolutely wants to leave, and I think he should leave, but I think he's going to have to take a pay cut.
That's why I said he's not going to
get a $31 million contract from anybody. Yes, it's in his court.
Boston doesn't get to say, we don't want you. Gordon says, pay me my money.
Right.
Trade my ass if you want to, but you're going to cut this check.
Right.
So to me, that's the only move. Same way with Melo and OKC.
Do you think he should just take that pay cut? And if he's
I'm not taking my pay cut. Give me my money, and then proceed to trade me, because Indiana wants me, and you want Miles Turner. I'm telling you, Boston.
That's too much.
Boston, listen. Boston is going to trade.
Miles Turner ain't that great.
Boston is either going to get. First of all, Miles Turner is a great defensive piece. We're not looking for offense at this point. We got Gordon. Not Gordon. We got Jaylen Brown. We got Jason Tatum. We got Marcus Smart. We got Kemba Walker. You can do a little bit, and you can stretch the floor if you want to. But most importantly, you play defense. Taco Fall doesn't get consistent minutes. Based on his size and athleticism, he's not going to get minutes.
Mm-hmm. He's not good enough.
He's going to get Boban Marjanovic minutes. We're going to plug you in here and there, but you're never going to play extended periods of time. Enes Kanter, as talented as he can be in the post, and as an offensive rebounder, he has loads of talent. Zero defensive energy. Enes Kanter is a beautiful player from one dimension of the game. So, where can we make up for that? Miles Turner. Listen, I'm telling you, because the Boston Celtics want a defensive big. I guarantee you, somehow,
some way. They want, they need.
Well, it's a double-sided thing.
Yeah.
Because we would like it, because we need some defense down low. Because as you could see in that Miami-Boston series, Daniel Tice got cooked. He tried to play defense, and he was fouling out in 3 quarters every single game. Mm-hmm. They will somehow pull off a trade, whether it be for Steven Adams, Miles Turner, or the dark horse's Rudy Gobert. Guarantee it. I guarantee. Okay. And when you think of defensive bigs,
you think they're going to give him $31 million, though?
Yes.
They're going to have to.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
The only way you can make this work is you have to do a sign and trade.
Yeah. It's only 1 year, though.
Nobody, neither of those 3 bigs, because those are your best options if you're looking for a defensive-minded big man who can also play some damn good offense. Those are your 3 best options right now on the market.
Yeah.
OKC is very likely getting rid of Chris Paul this year. What reason do we have to keep Steven Adams? At one point, in Russell Westbrook and Paul George's last year in OKC, Steven Adams was almost an all-star, and he was playing like it.
He's a good player.
But there was other big...
He's a great center.
He's great. He does his job. He fights for the rebounds. He shows amazing hustle and effort, and he sets them big body screens. He got bricks in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
If you're going to trade Chris Paul, what reason do you have really to keep Steven Adams? You might as well let him go. You know who's been wanting him for a little bit? Boston. Rudy Gobert. First of all, just looking at the Jazz, aside from the quote-unquote issues between Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, the Jazz were up 3-1 and consistently got cooked and cooked and cooked by my Nuggets. I'm still saying mine because I'm still very proud of what they did this year. But they got cooked by the Nuggets. Clearly, aside from any quote-unquote beefs, there's change that needs to happen in Utah because ain't no way in hell that you should be up 3-1 with the talent you had and not win that series.
Something. They do
so
something.
Say the beef is deeper than they're making it seem. If Boston throws them a decent enough offer, you can have Rudy. Because if it comes to the 2 of them, you're not letting Donovan go. I'm going to let Rudy walk before I get Donovan. I can always replace a big man. But shit. You think I'm going to let Donovan Mitchell go?
Donovan might be generation.
Donovan Mitchell he's
good.
He out there looking like young D Wade sometimes. You're not letting him go.
Yeah.
So Rudy Gobert is I'm telling you. And then Miles Turner is just the easy option because allegedly Indiana has a lot of interest in Gordon Hayward.
That would be he'd be technically going back home. That's where he played in college.
It's where he played in college. It's close to hometown. So Gordon Hayward, apparently there's some interest with Indiana. Obviously, Victor Oladipo could maybe be involved in that trade as well. One of those 2 players, but ideally, if you're Boston, you want Miles Turner.
That would be a lot if they traded
Vic and Miles Turner.
Victor Oladipo and Miles Turner, unless they got like a haul of draft picks.
I don't necessarily doubt that they would, but
that's
I feel
a
like
lot.
If you can if you're Boston, you don't necessarily want
Gordon.
Vic.
Gordon Hayward is not an all-star right now.
But if you're Indiana, we're not too high on Miles Turner. We're good off him. Victor Oladipo, we're kind of good on him. Gordon Hayward kind of fits what we need right now. If you're looking to get rid of players I think
a straight-up trade for Victor Oladipo and Gordon Hayward
my thing is if you're Boston,
sense.
You don't want Victor
Makes
Oladipo.
More sense for both teams.
Why do you want Victor Oladipo if you're Boston, though? That's my thing. If you're Boston, you want Miles Turner.
He could be another.
Victor Oladipo is good, but we got plenty of guards / forwards.
That's true.
We need a defensive-minded big.
That's true.
So that's why I say, if anything, Vic could be in that trade or maybe in a 3-team deal that gets them both out of Indiana. But they're going to get rid of one of, if not both of those players. And definitely one of them will end up in Boston.
But real quick, I just want to touch on their outlook, regardless of if they have Gordon Hayward or not.
Also, Nate McMillan just got hired.
He got hired to the Pelicans.
I forgot that quick what coaching staff it was. Or was it Phil? I don't remember. Anyway, Nate McMillan has a job, so nice to see another
assistant coach.
It's an assistant coaching job.
Was it the Hawks?
I honestly don't remember. Either way, I just wanted to throw that out there because we talked about black coaches not really getting a proper chance. It's good to see that he remained at least. He's still on a coaching roster though, instead of just fizzling out of the league and being at home.
I guess we got D'Antoni as assistant coach. They had to take Nate McMillan. That's good. The race wars. Looking at that team as far as the Celtics outlook, I think they still should be able to challenge. I think it is important that they get a big man. I think
they need one.
They got exposed with Tice last year.
Tice gets cooked.
It's just like Tice is not able to do anything.
Taco's not going to get heavy minutes. So you have 3 bigs that can't
do
anything.
Tice is a good rebounder. He's just not. He's a good rebounder. He just doesn't have the size all the time. If they get somebody like Miles Turner, I think that would make sense. But it's just going to be based on how they get him.
Yeah, because like I said, Miles is going to make up for a lot of what Tice does in the sense of Miles is a decent hustle player. He's going to get your rebounds. Miles can camp in the corner and hit a 3. He can hit something from the top of the key if you need him to.
Shoot.
But Miles also is going to make it hard for you to score at that bucket. Meanwhile, Daniel Tice, not all the time is that necessarily an issue. If you're the scorer, sometimes you're looking at Daniel Tice like, oh, bet. If Enes Kanter's down there, you're like, oh, shit.
So I think we both agree that they need to do something to get to the finals. Tatum is continuing to improve, we gotta keep an eye on Tatum because he eventually is gonna be competing for that next top player in the world in the NBA.
Not if the great White Hope has anything to say about it.
He's gonna be competing for the MVP here soon. Like, I mean, I think we gotta be real. He at this point he's kind of like that little brother. Like, damn, he balling.
LeBron, you got your LeBron, you got your KD, and then you have your Luka and your Jason Tatum.
I think that's fair.
That's fair.
Hey,
that's fair.
KD got.
I think
KD
they're next
got
up.
MVP in two rings this decade.
He has an MVP. I think that he
got 2 rings this decade.
He has an MVP. I think that they are very much next up in that top 1 and 2.
He up there. So we gotta. I mean, if he's that guy, we talking about the Mavs the same way. We got talking about the Celtics the same way we talk about the Mavs. Like, they are there. They're maybe a piece or two, or maybe they're just a step up for them as a player away from the finals.
And I think one of that pieces is a defensive big.
But I think honestly,
if they
Celtics have a better team than Dallas right now.
If they that's fair.
They made it further in the
playoffs. But I will say they're very similar in the sense that they have great high-powered offense, but they are lacking defensively. They
lack pieces, yes.
And also, the Dallas Mavericks are in a very stacked and competitive West, whereas the East, everybody fully expects Boston to run a monopoly.
Hey, you in the West,
they do have that advantage.
Yeah.
What I will say though, I think the Boston Celtics are very much so a defensive big away from securing and cementing their spot as one of the teams to beat. We thought they definitely were, but then we saw how they were getting exposed.
Yeah.
If they somehow manage to pull off a Rudy Gobert trade,
they were getting exposed, yes, but I almost feel like they are a step away from just simply Jason Tatum taking that next step. Because I
don't think
people were like, people were happy with Jason Tatum's performance in the playoffs this year. There was a lot of times where I felt like Jason Tatum was not making the right plays.
I remember you were saying he was selling at times.
Jason Tatum was underperforming at times. Yeah. In the fourth quarter, he was not doing what he needed to do. So I almost feel like they could keep this same team. Jason Tatum just has to make that next step.
But my thing is, you need both.
Being a dominant player in the fourth quarter. It was a lot of fourth quarters this postseason where it was like,
but I think
Tatum,
you're
not doing what you need to be doing.
Because if you get Jason Tatum on that next level, it definitely does help you a lot.
I think it might be enough.
At the end of the day, you gotta have that anchor down low.
You don't have to.
But listen, if you got to run against, say Giannis is there for the foreseeable future, you have a Giannis running to the paint that you don't have an answer for. You have a Bam Adebayo who's a very skilled big man that you don't have an answer for. If you want to run out west, you have an Anthony Davis and a Porzingis that you don't have a defensive answer for. You got bigs out there that can potentially compete with you, and you don't have an answer for them. You can have an answer for 2, 3, 4 positions out there, but if you don't have an answer down low, it's going to hurt you.
But they don't necessarily need a Miles Turner to have the answer. They could just have a good defensive big man. At least somebody bigger that can rebound and play defense.
Like I said, those 3 players are who you ideally want.
But Miles Turner is more than just a defender and rebounder. What I'm saying is they can have somebody lesser that can pay less
if you can
that
find
can do
it. But
that.
That's my point.
They don't need the offense.
You don't necessarily need one of those 3 all-star caliber centers. But if you don't make that improvement there, Jason Tatum can make leaps and bounds if he wants to, but at the end of the day, that will get exposed.
We'll see, man.
So you do have to have some sort of improvement at the 5.
We'll see. That might be enough. We're gonna end it there, but that's good where we're different.
But if they pull off if they somehow surprise everybody and pull off a Rudy Gobert,
I agree with that.
You cannot tell me that they're not the best team in the East.
I agree with that, but what I'm saying is that they don't necessarily need that kind of move. They don't need to make that drastic of a move to get one of those players.
I think they will only because of Gordon.
I just think
only because of Gordon. I think they will. That's the only reason.
Jaylen Brown needs to be better. Jason Tatum needs to be better. If they take steps up in their game, fourth quarter especially, I think they can make it to the finals.
We were a decent Pascal Siakam game away from them losing. Anyway, moving on to the Clippers, who need to trade Paul George.
So we're gonna move on to the Clippers with that. So Boston Celtics, now the Clippers. It's kind of a similar situation. You got knocked out in the second round of the playoffs. You have Kawhi. You have
third round for Boston.
Yeah. He's finals for Boston. Yeah, Eastern Conference Finals. Got knocked out, but for the Clippers, got knocked out in the second round. You got Kawhi, who is at one point we were thinking maybe he was the top player in the league.
Jordan.
Maybe not after this year. You have Paul George, who is just seems to not have it all together in the playoffs yet in his career. He's still fairly young.
But listen, PG-24 was a beast in the playoffs. PG-13 is very shaky. Like, as soon as it hits May...
There's there's
As soon as May
there
hits-
is a jury out for Paul George. But
he's a regular season phenomenon.
now
As
you
soon
have
as
a,
playoffs starts.
now you have a new head coach. You got Ty Lue, who's an NBA champion as a head coach. You still have the same team as last year, who I still personally believe have a better team than the Lakers. Probably have a better team than the Warriors. I personally believe on paper, top to bottom, especially if they keep the Morris brother.
And they talking about going after Rondo too.
Yeah, and they get somebody like
Getting a
Rondo.
solid playmaker in there.
Yeah. Oh, I had a whole argument about that. Oh my god.
'Cause right now they don't have one.
Yeah, but that was off topic. But I had a conversation about that. Long story. With Bruce and his friends.
Oh God.
Yeah,
No.
they dramatic.
Say no more. Say no more.
They all Lakers fans. It's ridiculous. So you have all these people, and like I said, top to bottom, they have, I feel like, probably the deepest team. I don't know. It's hard to say that when you get best of the second round, but they just looking on paper, you feel like man, they got all these players. They should be good. Maybe they do need a point guard. That's what we're gonna talk about. So can they get it done with this team? Do they just need to hit the refresh button? They got a new head coach. Maybe they get a little bit of a slightly different game plan, or do they need to potentially, like you said, trade Paul George?
While I enjoy the Paul George slander, I'd be a liar if I didn't say he's not one of my favorite players. I just enjoy his game. I mean, he can score on you in so many effective ways. He can take you to the hoop. He got hops. He can posterize you. He's got a great three-point stroke. He's got a mid-range game. He's got a smooth crossover, a real tight handle. I mean, he's just incredible to watch. It's just at this point, I used to think maybe I'm just slandering him too heavily because I'm a Thunder fan and he was letting my franchise down.
Probably so.
But now watching him do it with the Clippers too. And then, for me, it's the excuses, right? Like, when you lost to the Jazz year one in OKC, all of a sudden your damn shoulders hurt. Year two, Portland just dog walks us, and we were definitely the more talented team. And you got oh my God, how many game winners have been hitting Paul George's face? And he's supposed to be one of the better defensive players, quote unquote.
Bye-bye.
And then this year, I'm in a dark place because the bubble. No, you just suck. And it's fine. But, you're just a regular season talent, bro. And at this point, it's sad to see. Now, just based off of potential and what we did see during the regular season, I'd hate to see them let go of Paul George. But depending on the offers that you have out there, depending on what you can get back, if I'm the Clippers, I'm listening.
What would you be willing to take? Are you looking for draft picks? Or are you looking for
no draft picks? I'm in win now mode.
Okay.
If I'm the Clippers, I'm in win now mode. We done with draft picks. I think you call Daryl Morey in Philly, see what he has to offer, see what he want to do. I think you do have Gallinari out there who's a free agent. He's played for that franchise before. Gallinari does his job well. You know Gallinari gonna shoot. You know Gallinari gonna get you some boards, and Gallinari is consistent.
I just want
because
to. I want to chime in. The problem with Philly is I don't think Paul George wants to play, or Doc Rivers wants Paul George on his team again.
Oh yeah. Oh. No. Don't call Philly. I just think some of the teams out there, there was a report that came out, which isn't the first time that because I hate that I say this so often, but Miami be low key looking at people. And they apparently are very much fans of Paul George's game. But at that point is what do you do to get him? And then are you sure that you're going to get the most out of him? Now, in my mind,
they are pieces,
if you send Paul George down to Miami, Jimmy Butler ain't going to let you sell. I'll be damned if you get out here and sell me in the playoffs. Boy, you better. If you I don't want you shooting no shots. You better defend, rebound, and pass the ball. If you're going to be clanking like that, don't you shoot a damn shot.
Miami got pieces.
They got pieces.
To deal
they
with.
can make it happen if they wanted to. But they also aren't going to jeopardize an opportunity to get Giannis, so they're not going to take on too much on the books. But it's a possibility out there.
Okay.
But if you just find ways to bolster that roster, or there's a decent trade return that you can get for Paul George. Who cares where the hell you send him? Send him to Canada.
I think.
But if you can get decent pieces back, get him out of there. Because at this point, you know that Kawhi is going to. Kawhi is Kawhi.
Yeah.
He's
that
proven.
Game 7, boy.
Game 7, Kawhi really looked like a different person. I think it was a problem downloading his DLC. I think somebody turned the router off or something. Because Game 7, he was a totally different person.
That's true.
But
that's probably what happened.
You know what you're getting out of Kawhi.
Yeah.
You've seen it.
Like when Nelly had that Wi-Fi issue on his verses.
With the verses, oh my God. Lagging. You know what I'm saying?
Struggle.
I remember watching that. That was awful.
Oh,
anyway.
God, so embarrassed.
You let us down. But if you can get a decent trade for him, it's worth it. We know what we're getting out of Kawhi. He's shown it with the Spurs. He's shown it with the Raptors. He showed it here until Game 7. We don't want to let him go. You, on the other hand, you sold OKC in the playoffs. You sold us in the playoffs. In the first round, we thought second round was going to be different. No, you sold us again. If somebody out there is willing to take Paul George, I think you listen. If you can get just decent role players in it.
I feel like you have to listen.
If you look at the Raptors, they don't necessarily have a star player. They're just a really well-rounded organization. If you can get good role players in return for Paul George, bye, Paul.
I don't know if Raptors got it, though.
Bye, Paul.
Unless they keep Fred.
No, I'm not saying trade him to the Raptors. I'm just saying similarly, like Kawhi won with a team where he was the guy with a bunch of well-rounded guys that did their job.
Yeah, my bad.
If you trade Paul George for other well-rounded guys that do their job, bye.
I think
trade him to Brooklyn. Get Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Jared Allen. Just bolster that roster up a little bit. Guys that do their job pretty damn well. Let Brooklyn figure out how the hell to deal with Paul George.
Damn, let me shake your hand on that. That's not too bad.
You like that?
That's not for on the spot.
Just
we don't know about the money.
Just a domer?
Domer, yeah.
That's pretty
good. That's an interesting decision.
That's a hot take.
That is.
Straight talk hot take.
That's not a hot take because I don't think you're not predicting that that's going to happen.
It's not.
That was just a situation that potentially.
If they pull that off though, then
that would be interesting.
Then I'll give you the Brooklyn.
That would be interesting for both teams because then
that's a win-win.
You got that Kawhi. You do have the Kawhi factor where it's like it's his team for sure now.
Because Shaq says he feels like it needs to be Kawhi's team.
He still has the bench. He has a super deep bench, and he has he also has all stars in his starting lineup with Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie, who are close. Spencer Dinwiddie, I think, was in the All-Star game like last year, I believe.
If he didn't make it, he got damn close.
He got close. I think he made it. You have All-Star in him, and you have somebody that could potentially be All-Star in Karis LeVert, and you get a big man in Jared Allen.
See, you liking that the more you're thinking about it, huh?
That's an interesting look.
Because look, you might lose Montrez this year because he is a free agent.
After this year?
This year, I think this summer, I believe he's a free agent.
Yeah, you're right.
Also, all you have is Zubats, really, as a big. And you got Joakim Noah, who gets no playing time.
Sometimes, man. You know Rev, you preaching a little bit. That's an interesting trade. That's an interesting trade. But what I would say is about the Clippers is that I think they can just give it another run with this team. You still have the talent. You still have really. You probably, even though you lost, you got ousted in the second round. You probably really on a couple plays or maybe a quarter of basketball away from making to the Western Conference Finals.
Similar to the Raptors having a good Pascal Siakam game away from moving on. They were a good Paul George game away from moving on to the Western Conference Finals.
For the most part.
First and foremost, I feel like they run it back. Round out that roster a little bit. If you can get Rondo, please do, because I think you do need.
I think they do need a point guard, alpha, especially if Kawhi wants one. Rondo probably is.
You need an alpha on that team.
I think Rondo would be.
You need that IQ on the floor,
especially the way he was shooting last in the playoffs.
You need him. You need him.
I think if they can get a point guard, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Rondo, but it could be a decent point guard, maybe a Jrue Holiday. And we're going to talk about him a little bit, a little later. So I think that's what we'll see with the Clippers.
Before we get on with more straight talk basketball, hot takes, news, predictions, all of that, we're gonna throw it to a real quick commercial break to shout out our sponsors here at Taylor Gents. Take a look at the video real quick. Cue the footage. anyway, welcome back.
We appreciate our sponsors first off.
Very much so.
Taylor Gents, if you need your custom clothes there, go ahead, hit them up. Yeah. Hit him up. Well, no, actually, it's most of them. Hit him up and get you a custom suit.
Get one. You got one, and it's clean.
Seen it?
It's clean. I'm trying to get one myself, and give me a little bread together. I'm going to holler at Daryl. Moving on with the show, we want to quickly touch on Devin Booker. Of course, like I said, not only are we providing you hot takes, news updates, but we also talking rumors. Devin Booker allegedly wants out. He might as well pull an Eric Bledsoe in the barbershop.
It's pretty much he wants to leave at this point, and you would think he wants to stay because they went 8-0 in a bubble. They got all these young players, but I think he's ready to be on a real contender.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, potentially he feels like, I think the names that's the team that's being swirled around the most is the Wolves. He has interest in playing with D'Angelo Russell and Cat.
They're the new school banana boat crew, just not as talented. Like that, they boys.
No, they might be as talented, but they just ain't got
no success to back it up.
Success, yeah. So he's, for whatever reason, potentially he wants to play for the Wolves. I don't know why. I feel like he could be better on a different team.
While I do feel like I would never want to touch the Wolves with a 10-foot pole, if I do have the opportunity to play with two of my closest friends, also under 25, who are talented as hell, and we're all going to hit our peaks around the same time, all of the best players in the league are late 20s, most of them early to mid-30s. Yeah. They're all on the way out in the next couple years. We're only 24-ish on average, maybe. We're going to hit our stride and hit our peak. And the three of us together potentially propel this franchise to the top as the old guard starts to fade out.
It would be more interesting if the two teams that they were on now were able to compete in the playoffs or even, make the playoffs. Yeah. So that would make it a little more interesting, even though they're still only
it'd be interesting if it wasn't in Minnesota.
Or maybe about 26.
If it was in the team
more
like
interesting
New York
if it
Knicks
wasn't Minnesota.
If it was like the Knicks or something, I'd be more excited. But nobody wants to watch the Minnesota Timberwolves.
But for me, it's just like they haven't competed on their own other than D'Angelo Russell.
Well, the Wolves did, and then Jimmy Butler said, "Y'all suck. I'm out."
But did they make the playoffs with Jimmy Butler?
Jimmy Butler took them to the playoffs, made them play really damn good, and that's why he was so pissed off.
They made them play.
He made them. Jimmy Butler was driving the slave ship. I hate to say it, but he was on their ass.
The visual. Y'all gonna play tonight.
Tonight we gonna ball.
Tonight we gonna play.
And after they lost that summer, he was like, you know what? You suck, Carl. Andrew, you're a waste of space. I'm finna run with the third stringers, blow you out, and tell y'all effing need me, and I want to be traded. Yes.
I feel like
they were in the playoffs in the second.
I don't ever remember seeing them.
They ended up playing the. I don't remember if they won the first round or the first round was the Rockets. They couldn't have won
the first round.
They played the Rockets and then they ended up losing.
They couldn't have won the first round. Because I think the season, that's when we played them in the second round. The Warriors played them in the second round. Because we didn't play them in
They had the Rockets first round. And
that's when
the year before that, they were not a playoff team.
That's when KD first got hurt.
They were not a playoff team. Yeah. Jimmy Butler said, we going to the playoffs. Then he left and they went right back to the bottom.
And then, so that's Jimmy Butler. So Cat ain't really doing it by himself. D'Angelo Russell is the only person to really do it by himself. It would be more interesting if they had that on there, at least on their rest. Like, you got make the playoffs.
Go ahead, flip some young players.
Playoffs.
Flip some young players and that #1 draft pick, and just go ahead and get Devin. But if I'm Phoenix, I don't know that I want to let him go because we have you in Ayton. There's tons of potential there.
But I mean,
the 8-0 in the bubble it holds weight to me a little bit, but at the same time, who the hell cares?
But if Devin doesn't want to be there, say they get
Devin's under contract for so much longer that do we really want to rush into a trade?
If they get Anthony Edwards on that team, and I feel like you can maybe potentially replace Devin Booker in this draft.
You could.
With a potential Anthony
My
Edwards.
thing is the sense of urgency isn't necessarily there. If you're Phoenix, there's no sense of urgency because you can't go anywhere anytime soon.
There's not.
So we don't have to make a sudden move.
But you're not going to do good if you don't want to be there. He's going to eventually request
his way out.
Yeah,
like Anthony Davis.
He's definitely going to force his way out if you don't want to be there. And that's just a report. It's just a rumor. That's all we're just talking rumors. So he might love it. He might love them cold nachos.
Moving on to Jrue Holiday while we talking about rumors and trades. Apparently,
I think this is the big one. This is the big rumor.
No, this is huge because Jrue Holiday, like we've talked about several times, most slept-on player in the league. A lot of teams really could use his help. the Pelicans are apparently taking offers. They're not necessarily actively looking to move on from Jrue, but they are willing to hear teams out.
And also, Jrue did not request a trade in any way.
Jrue has been chilling.
He's okay with being in New
Jrue
Orleans.
is old as hell. Can we get that out the way?
How old is Jrue Holiday?
Jrue is old. Like,
he can't be that old.
He's not.
He's not 30.
He's not old.
He's not.
But
I
be forgetting Jrue is that damn
I guarantee. Well, he's older.
Jrue has been in the league for hell.
He's been in the league for hell.
I forget that.
But he's not in his 30s.
Yeah.
He's 30.
He's 30. He's 30.
Oh man, he is old.
I told you Jrue was old. He's been in the league since like 2002. Like it's been a minute. But
I didn't realize he was 30.
Yes, we talked about it a little bit before the show.
30.
I think the best bets are definitely the Nuggets.
And the report, it says the three teams that are most likely to get them are the Nuggets, the Nets, and my Warriors.
I didn't see the Warriors one.
I can show it to you right now.
Off and on during the season leading up to the trade deadline, I saw that Miami was monitoring him, and I forget the second team. Miami could definitely use him. Any team can use him because not only is he such a great playmaker, he's an amazing one-on-one player, and he's a super solid defender.
He's also an amazing one-on-one defender.
Well, yeah,
one of the better defenders in the league.
One-on-one, he got them clamps. Don't sleep. Now, we talked about the Nuggets earlier. My thing is, and something I was reading earlier as well, is just something that does kind of make sense. If you're the Nuggets, we see how far Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic can take us.
Yeah.
Gary Harris and Will Barton, while they have been great pieces for them, they didn't have anything really to do with that run. Mm-hmm. Will Barton didn't play. Gary Harris didn't play up until the Clippers series. Mm-hmm. We made it this far without two of our better guys that don't get a whole lot of minutes because of the log jam of players we have. Yeah. If we can get rid of them in some sort of swap for Jrue, because if you're the Pelicans, I don't really want draft picks. I don't want 18, 19-year-olds. We do have decent enough talent that we can compete for at least that 8 seed. Give me players that are solid.
I disagree with that. I feel like the Pelicans are still young. The best player potentially is Zion Williams, who's only not even
Brandon Ingram.
Just turned 20. They got Brandon Ingram as well, but he's only like 24 at the most.
My thing is
they still have a young team to where if they get another
that 8 seed,
if they get another, okay, you can get it. I mean, look at the Grizzlies. They had a bunch of 19 and 20-year-old, 21-year-olds, and they almost made the 8 seed.
Some of them are a little older than we think.
I mean, they're a little older, but you still. What I'm saying is, you can get a player, and with the team that you have, the nucleus that you have. You got Zion, you got Brandon Ingram, you got Alonzo Ball, potentially got J.J. Redick if they can keep him. You have Jrue Holiday, even though they might be potentially trading him. Well, so if they get the draft pick, they're going to be trading Jrue Holiday as a scenario. So what I'm saying is, if you have those three players that I named for, if we include J.J. Redick, you can add a rookie.
Could it work?
And still easily make an AFC, or even better, if the player deems to be good enough, that can improve your team. He's not too young.
Could it work?
It's not
Absolutely.
It's not like the nucleus is in closer to the 30s.
I'm not saying it is.
And you're getting the point guard.
My point though is
they're all basically.
If I have the option, if I can get established players that I know what they bring to the table, such as Will Barton and Gary Harris, or such as a Spencer Dinwiddie or Karis LeVert out of the Nets, if I can get them in comparison to some project 18, 19, 20-year-old, I'm definitely wanting to take the players that I know what they bring to the table to help fill out this roster.
I will give you Karis LeVert and Spencer Dinwiddie, because they're, again, we talking about all-stars almost in that situation. Will Barton and Gary Harris
are great 3-and-D players.
They're not enough.
But I'm saying, in comparison to some gamble of a 20-year-old who I don't know what the hell he's going to be, I'm going to have to work on developing him. I know what their game is like. I know that they can score. I know that they can defend.
I'll take a risk.
And Gary Harris, I know you're a great defender one-on-one. You're not Jrue Holiday, but you still got damn good defense. You can score the ball, and you know how to make plays. I will take that over some 20-year-old that I'm going to have to groom you. I still got to help you learn how to play defense. I still got to help you understand that you're not the only person here. I need you making plays for them, too. I don't have to worry about that when I have a Gary Harris, a Will Barton, a Spencer Dinwiddie, a Karis LeVert. So if I'm New Orleans, I'm wanting to trade for established players that know their role. They've been in the NBA. They know how to do what they're doing.
That's too. And for me, that's too early to be worrying so much about getting those established players.
I just think if you're New Orleans, you're on the cusp of the 8th seed. Why do I want to continue to be stuck in rebuild land when I can potentially snag the 8th seed? Why do I want to keep
I'm gonna look at Will Barton real quick. In that situation, Will Barton is 29. Okay, that means by the time that Zion gets even close to his prime, which is I always deem the prime to be between about 27 and 32, somewhere in that range. That's your prime. So by the time he's 10 years older than Zion,
we're not talking about
Zion can get to,
you're talking about
building
for the future, and that's where there's a disconnect.
But you're
worried about the prime that's 6 years from now. I'm talking about New Orleans is this close to being an 8th seed playoff team, and they've been hanging around right there in the basement. Why do I want to take a step down and continue to float in the 9th to 11th seed when I can compete for this 8th seed?
I'm talking about building. I'm talking about winning a championship. I'm not talking about the AFC. I want to win a championship. If you got Zion, if you got all these players, you got Brandon Ingram, Zion, you're thinking about championships. So I'm thinking about a player that, okay, maybe we can't win a championship this season, and if we can't win the championship, who gives a hell about making an AFC? I'm thinking about in the next 2 to 3 years.
About making an AFC.
if we can get a championship in the next 2 to 3 years, that's what I'm worried about. That and next 2 to 3 years, that's when Brandon Ingram at least is going to be in his most prime. So if you can get a solid young player to couple with Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram while they're closer or approaching their primes, or while Brandon Ingram is in his prime, that's going to be the best possible team that you can get in order to win a championship in the next couple of years.
Win a championship in 2036 is what you're saying. Whereas what I'm saying
I said next 3 to 4 years.
Well, they're
not going to win a championship.
On the other hand, before I move on to a player I actually care about, on the other hand, we've been the 8th seed when we had Anthony Davis. Even without him, we lingered right at the bottom. Why would I take a step down and trade one of my better players on the team and hope to be good in 4 years when I can actually make an impact now and actually sneak into the playoff picture?
Give me the draft pick.
Moving on, LaMelo Ball is who I want to talk about because that's who I'm super high on. I love what he brings to the table. Regardless of his horrible shooting percentages down in Australia, I like what he brings to the table as a player.
And also regardless of his father.
Ain't nobody worried about his father no more. We lived through that already.
That's true.
Rumor has it that he's not performing well in these interviews. Some of his workouts have been shaky. First of all, just off the dome, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it could potentially be just the fact that maybe he's not as good as we like to think. Maybe he still kind of got, even though we like to think, no, I got you. Let me come around to it. Even though it could just potentially be the fact that we could potentially be hyping him in this league in Australia. Maybe the talent is not as good enough, and he's just able to make it look like he's really good.
17-7-7 is hard to do on accident, though.
It's hard. It's 100%. I'm getting there. Well, so what I'm thinking is it could potentially be that. Well, honestly, what I think it is he's purposely trying to land in the spot that he wants to land. And I think this has a lot to do with his father. So this is why I did bring up his father.
Okay.
His father, from day one, said that he wanted them to play for the Knicks. Mm-hmm. From the very beginning. The Knicks, unfortunately for them, fell all the way down to the 8th spot. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate. So I just think it's the situation where he's honestly purposely dogging in these workouts and in the interviews. Because he apparently ain't been doing good in the interviews either. I think it's him trying to lower his draft stock so he can fall for the Knicks. And I think you agree with that.
Either the Knicks or Chicago. Because Chicago comes before 5. New York.
Chicago's 5.
And I think those are his two. I think those are probably the two preferable
I feel like LeVar from day one said the Knicks.
You said the Knicks, but Chicago is another big market team. And Chicago ain't letting him go.
He would be okay with Chicago.
If he slips down to Chicago, ain't no way in hell Chicago goes, nah, they taking LaMelo. Long term, you'd love to fall all the way to the Knicks, but you know that Chicago is going to snap you if you fall.
Chicago loves the foreigner, Advij.
My thing with LaMelo is, First of all, I'm also not going to buy into this because what I think it could be coming into play is that, we want you to feel like we're going to pass up on him. We don't too much care if I'm the Warriors or the Timberwolves. We don't too much care for him, whatever. This entices you to say, I'll trade you for that pick because I don't want him to fall. I want to be able to get him off the board. Y'all aren't too high on him. I'll trade you my number 6 pick and this or whatever so I can have that number 1 or 2 pick. That way I can go ahead and get him. Because I don't want to take the chance of y'all 2 may pass on him, but team 3, 4, 5 may take him before I get the chance. So part of me feels like it's a little bit of manipulation from the front offices and organizations of the top 2 picks. Like, we don't too much care for him. He's not all that. The teams that are thirsty for that type of talent and potential, they don't want to take the risk of, he might fall this low.
Yeah. Because
the last time that you can think of a really high caliber quality guard and the team was like, he might slip this low, it was the Knicks again. And you know who snagged that high caliber quality guard? The Golden State Warriors, and the rest is history. So you don't want to take the chance on that happening again. If teams are quote unquote not high on him,
we could talk about,
you want to grab that pick.
We could talk about Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
With I think it was the Celtics acting like he's probably not that good. He's gonna fall in his draft.
Just so Philly was like, please give me that number 1 pick.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and take Markelle. I don't want to take no chances.
Right.
And Boston was like, bet, because this is who we wanted anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So they were like, Markelle's, well, whatever.
Yeah, that's what it was. They was acting like they wanted to trade. All right,
yeah.
They was going to draft Markelle Fultz.
And they were like, we don't know. And the Sixers were like, please. we'll give you the number 3 pick. Right. We really want that. And Boston was like, bet, because number 1 high key was Jason Tatum regardless. Right. But we got a little bit of, we got some extra assets out of you.
Yep.
So I feel like that's probably a similar thing that's going on with the LaMelo situation. Aside from me feeling like there is probably some. First of all, it could just all be bullshit. Let's get that out of the way. They're rumors for a reason. My top thoughts are bullshit. Manipulation by front offices hoping to get some assets in return for this pick. And also LaMelo and his camp hoping that he falls to either Chicago or New York. A bigger market team.
I think it's the
a better
latter.
situation.
I think it's them.
That's probably the top one.
Because I feel like
if you're LaMelo, you don't want to be on the
I don't know LeVar, but I feel like that's just like
it makes
for me
sense.
That's right up LeVar's alley.
It makes sense. The only difference between Lonzo and LaMelo's situation is that the team that LeVar really wanted Lonzo to fall to had a top 3 pick.
Exactly.
The team that he would prefer LaMelo to fall to is on the bottom half of the top 10.
Exactly.
Like I said, ideally you have Chicago or New York because they're bigger markets. There's more of a need for you.
Mm-hmm.
Golden State Warriors, they've got their backcourt. Mm-hmm. You're not really getting minutes. If anything, it's going to be a D'Angelo Russell
They looking
situation.
at him though. And I've seen so many reports again about the Warriors. One of the guys or analysts said he feel like LaMelo Ball is a perfect fit for the Warriors. So.
Well, the only thing is potentially with the Warriors, you got that D'Angelo Russell situation where you get minutes, you do a little bit here and there, but realistically, we're hoping to flip you. You go to the Timberwolves, D'Angelo Russell's there, really where's the fit there? So I think there's a lot of at play. I hope we fall out because I don't really like these top options. Yeah. But that's just, I wanted to touch on it real quick because I'm really high on LaMelo. Draft is only like 2 weeks out. I can't wait to see what happens.
I'm excited for the draft.
And there's still times for trades, everybody. There's 2 weeks.
Of course, because we got the second pick. So.
Shut up. There's 2 weeks. Who knows what can happen with trades?
I think even though a lot of people don't think it's a huge draft, like
it's a big deal.
Players, I think
this
draft is going to be interesting.
Especially when you got it as a super title contender already with the Warriors. Moving on to Petty Betty this week.
Petty Betty of the week!
We have almost moved past political season, and this is typically Josh's thing.
Woo.
But this week, I want to take on politics because I feel like the Petty Betty this week is your very own President, Mr. Donald Trump. Cue the graphic, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen, he could be Petty Betty
any given Sunday.
Every week.
Any given Sunday.
First off, let's
when the
get that
Super Bowl
clear.
drive off in the Hyundai, you feel me?
Yeah.
Let's get that graphic of Donald Trump up on the board because this man is just petty as hell. The biggest toddler in the world. Now, let me tell you why this man is so funny to me, bro. If he wasn't the commander-in-chief, I think he would just be the funniest man on earth, for real.
No, anytime he's on TV, he's on Comedy Central. It's Comedy Central.
It only gets sad when you're like, oh man, like this is who's in charge of the country.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah. He's actually real. I think he's really funny.
So the fact that there were so many votes this year, there was issue with mail-in ballots getting there on time. There was such a huge voter turnout that polls didn't close when they typically close. because there was people in line. They're like, well, damn, we got to let them in to vote, too. And in Donald Trump's mind, this race is over. It should be done. No more votes. The polls should be closed. Voting should be over. Hey. Tuesday night, crown me.
Quit.
Everybody else was like,
you're done.
Don,
you're done.
Sorry to tell you, bud. We still have more votes to count. There's still people in line right now, and we're still getting mail as we speak. So I can't really just end it here on Tuesday.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have to. Drewski was saying, I'm gonna have to wait a little bit. I got some more counting to do. Okay, so if you can just sit tight. So Donald said, "Oh, word? You still got votes to count? I'm going to sue. I'm going to sue you for counting more votes.
Where are my lawyers?
This is not legal.
Talk about privilege.
This is not legal. This is not fair." He got his supporters out here chanting, "Stop the count." And then in other places, they're chanting to keep counting. It just...
What a word.
Donald Trump, the Trump administration, the Trump fan club, it's just petty Betty of the century. Yeah. And I know these crackers going to act the fool if you lose. That's another story.
God, for real.
Speaking of shouting, we ain't going to talk about no jerseys this week. We ain't got time, ladies and gentlemen. It's been too long. Let's get to the end of the show. Let's end it off. It's late night.
For sure. It's 11 o'clock. It's midnight in the East Coast. I'm going to go first. Speaking of shouting, today I'm going to be speaking, and I just want to talk about what a rough day it was for everyone in the room. Shout out to everybody. We did it. We got through the show. Mm-hmm. I'm proud of everybody. Mm-hmm. We got some looks going on. We got the studio audience. Y'all ain't really heard much from them today, but it's okay.
They've been chilling. You probably heard them snickering, but that's another story.
Yeah, exactly. We got the producer. You know what I'm saying? And us two, it's been a rough little go-round of a day for us.
Man.
And the fact that we were able to get this show out, put it through.
That's why it's a late night show for real.
Honestly,
we had to fight some
demons and be successful. And I think we had a really good show today.
Yeah, we did.
If I say so myself. So if you watch this, appreciate you guys coming through. I just want to say thank you guys to everybody that's here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Having a good show as well. There you go. But yeah, we gonna keep it pushing, man. It's a struggle, but if you ain't struggling, you ain't doing good.
Hey, what Spice Adams say?
I just made that up.
You can't climb a mountain if it's smooth.
Yeah.
It's got to be some bumps along the way.
That's better than what I said. That's
got to be some bumps along the way.
Thank you for that.
Get up.
Thank you for that.
You know what I'm saying? If it ain't no bumps along the way, you ever seen somebody try to rock climb? How you climbing if it ain't no obstacles?
Absolutely.
You just gonna slip off the
wall.
It's
easy. It's not fun.
You need them obstacles to work around.
If you ain't got a problem solve.
You know what I'm saying?
Praise. Pray for
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
That's all I want to say, Ram. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Hey, you know Rev got to preach a little bit, so I'll go ahead and take that right here. Speaking of shouting, I'm going to speak about how glad I am that we have been so consistent with this show. If you've been following us for a while, it's been hard, man. Being college students, then being full-time workers, it can be very hard, but I think this feels like the longest tenure we've had.
I think we went from late August to late October the very first time. We've gone from late July. Now this is early November, so I think this is probably
our longest tenure. If you really go back, so I just want to shout about how proud I am of myself, how proud I am of you, how proud I am of Daria for helping step up and be our producer, because it just made it easier to have a third set of hands. How grateful I am to Unc Jed Wilson, even though you stole most of my equipment and I ain't really feeling the fact that I don't have an automatic trash can in the back. I do appreciate all that you've done to help us out along the way. I want to shout out Daryl for providing us this beautiful studio space and allowing us to be here without any trouble, without charging us none of that.
That's a hashtag. Hashtag bring the open trash can.
Hashtag bring the automatic can back, bro. Hashtag free Unc, man. Because that woman got him tied around him.
Oh, my God. They're tied around
I miss you, Unc. No, but on a serious note, though, shout out to all the supporters, the fans, the people that have made this possible. Shout out to Josh. Shout out to Daria. And all the people that have helped along the way and to help us stay consistent.
We couldn't that.
And I just hope to continue to be this consistent, and hopefully it's only up here.
100%. We're gonna keep it going from here. We're gonna get better.
Free Jed. I'm just playing. I'm just playing, Jen. If you see this, I'm just playing, bro. I'm just cutting up because I miss you, dog. That's it. Anyway, moving on. Shouts out to everybody who might have been in attendance for late night straight talk. Sometimes, just like Sports Center, you gotta have it late night just to see who really out there.
For sure. Hey, if you made it this far into the show, I will cash app you $10.
I feel like
whether it's recorded or whether you watching it live, hit me up if you this far in the show. Cash app you $10 right now.
I cash app you too. I ain't got it like that, but I do it. It almost feel like J. Cole, that last track of 2014 Forest Hill Drive.
For real.
If you've been listening this long,
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
I'll never forget, man, that time in the elevator. Anyway, moving on. We appreciate all of y'all. Shouts out Michelob Ultra for the sponsorship that will soon come because we're speaking it into existence.
Absolutely.
I hope you all enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you all for attending. We hope to see you next Thursday.
Deuces.
Peace.